Once upon a time, boys and girls were taught how to behave in the society, how to treat each other. Nowadays, this happens only in very rich families. So that's why beautiful ladies and handsome boys, you get most of the time in relationships that don't work. And if you've ever been stuck in a toxic relationship, and then another one and another one, and you're wondering why you attract the same people and you get in those relationships that don't work, that's why. So today I'm going to talk about dating. For those of you who haven't tried, although it's so popular nowadays, dating apps give you the opportunity to meet a lot of people in kind of safe way. So for many women, it's strange to go online and date men there because they feel unsure what they want, insecure. They don't know how to answer some really impolite questions. So I want to mention some of them. First of all, as a therapist, I suggest to my clients to use dating sites to get knowing themselves better. Because that way you know, okay, I don't like someone to talk to me this way. I don't like answering this kind of questions. I don't like people, for example, using words or expressing themselves this way or that way or whatever. So you will know what you like and what you don't like, what you want and what you don't want, what you can tolerate and what you can't. And that is very important. Think of this as going to the gym. When you go to the gym, you train to keep your body fit. You don't need to run a marathon or do something else. You just go there, work, maybe not every day, but consistently to be fit. So think about dating apps or dating sites that way. They keep you fit, knowing about yourself, how to have healthy boundaries. It can help you. So do that to get experience and to know yourself. To know yourself. Think this way. Think like you're playing a role and you want to know what kind of person you are, what you really like or want. What can you say to the other person? It's an interesting thing. You may find very interesting things about yourself and other people. So that's the reason why I advise my clients to use dating sites and dating apps because it's safe. And also, don't feel pressured to share your phone number or something else. Don't. Keep it there because it's safe. Even when you go on a first date, still keep it there. You still can say, I prefer to use the app till I feel comfortable to share my phone number. And I hope you respect my choice. So don't feel pressured. If that person doesn't respect your choice, that means they have something else. Either way, it won't work. So don't have regrets. Don't think, oh, I should have done that. No, never think that way. Going on a first date is very exciting and you can meet the person face to face and you can feel the energy and you can feel, how you feel. And then you can, like in person, should know how to draw a line, how not to answer questions you don't want to, and how to end a date you don't like, which is perfect. You may not feel that way the first time or the second time or the third time, but as I said, it's like a training. So you need that training. One of the things I would say, if a man suggests a date close to his place, that's a big no-no. Should not happen that way. The man should always suggest a date that's close to the woman's place, or at least somewhere in between, but never close to his place because he's too lazy or whatever to go on a train and move travel to see the woman. That is on its own a red flag. So don't go on a date with that guy. Never, ever. Besides, you don't know what's happening there. It's his environment, maybe they're friends. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know the guy. Don't go. Never, ever. Not all the pictures on the dating apps are real. Even if it says that they were approved or whatever, you don't know that. Another thing, if the guy starts asking about stats, then you should know that there is something else there. Maybe he wants only sex. It doesn't matter what it says. Stats? So how do you know that what he has written there is true? You don't know. For example, I'll give you. You don't need to say, by the way, if it's written there, that's fine. But you don't know. You don't need to say. Like usually, one of the things is the height, because guys, short guys, they like cheating and writing, and then asking how tall are you. You can say tall enough for a woman. You don't need to answer. Fine, play around. Texting gives you time to think. Is that the best thing? What can I say? So you can take your time. Don't rush. That's one of the things. Then, if you go on a date with a guy who is talking only about himself all the time and you can barely say anything, that can be a red flag. That guy is narcissistic. He's thinking too much about himself. It is possible for the guy to talk too much because he's nervous or because he's afraid you can ask questions he would not like answering. So, in that case, he can talk a lot. That's fine. But if you go on a second, third date, and he's still talking about himself only, and when you try to say something and he says yes and continue whatever he is saying, that is a sign he's not listening to you. And at some point, you will realize he wasn't listening. So, this is a guy who is very much in himself. So, you should ask yourself a question. Is this guy looking for a mother or a dating partner? Because to me, it looks like he's looking for a mother, and that's not your job. And if that person has traumas from his childhood or whatever, you are not the person who has to heal that guy or woman. They need a therapist. You can send them to me. I can help. But going on a date, that's not your job. You're going to find a partner. So you're looking for a partner. And if that person is not emotionally stable or whatever, stable, ready, and thinking only about himself or herself, how you can nurture them, or what you can do, give them, well, obviously, that's the wrong person. And you should end the date. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel uncomfortable or impolite or whatever. Don't. You can end the date and you can say, sorry, I think we are not compatible. I think we want different things and it's not going to work. I wish you all the best. Whatever you decide. I would suggest have your lines. That's the best thing. Have your lines in both cases ready. Learn them by heart. What are you going to say if the date goes that way? What you're going to say if the date goes that way? Have them ready, like a scenario. Sit down and think. If this happens, what is my response? If that happens, what my response will be? Of course, the date is not based on scenario. Sit down and write the lines, but you should have that ready. It will help you a lot. And you can see at some point when you mention something that's important for you. For example, maybe you are lactose intolerant or you are gluten intolerant or you don't drink coffee or whatever. And at some point you go somewhere, and if you are gluten intolerant and the guy says, let's have pizza or something else, he hasn't listened to you, what you have said. So obviously, he's too much in himself. It doesn't matter how nervous the person is. still, I think that things, points that he or she should pay attention to. And most of the time, I would say most of the guys probably, they have expectations like everyone else. So they will talk about what kind of woman they want, how the woman should behave, what the expectations are. But they're not talking about themselves, what they are going to do for that woman, how they're going to make her feel. I don't know. They're not talking about a relationship give and take equally, kind of. They're talking about themselves, still thinking, oh yeah, maybe the woman should go and, do the chores, cooking, whatever, walking the dog, working, all these kind of things. What are you looking for? Mother? Maid? Housekeeper? What are you looking for? Partner? Let's make it clear. So these are the things you need to consider when you decide to go on a date. But before going on a date, you should consider dating apps because they will help you to find a partner. Yes, maybe. But most importantly, they will help you to get familiar with yourself, get comfortable with yourself, know your boundaries, and what you can and cannot tolerate. If you have questions, you can leave them down below. And if you know someone who needs therapy, please send them to me. I hope you liked the video, you found it helpful, and of course, like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.